Looks like we're streaming soon. Okay, looks like I am live here. Okay, let's switch to the workspace. Right. And throw on some jazzy music. Okay, so yeah, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Working on the item menu upgrades. Well, this is the status menu. However, over here we have the item menu. Let me just move this other window off to the side. Essentially, we're re-adding the functionality. So I have this debug string that I call with the macro I have set up, and it basically populates a sample of items. These items can be sorted, so that's working. And not all of them are usable. You can see right now the use function does gray out on non-usable items, which is getting closer to the right direction. And it's recognizing that this is a hunting tools type. These don't work. This does work, and you can see that we can now select who we want to use this item on. Self-target is working correctly. I mean, we can't actually use it yet, but we're building up the degrees of control for using items, which is cool. This should select all characters, because it's supposed to heal everyone in your party. So we'll build out some more of that too. I would like to add some sort of sound effect feedback for non-usable items. So maybe that's a good place to start. Oh, one last thing we should add maybe is the ability to go back to the top if, you're at the bottom. I feel like maybe we should loop back to the top, so that'd be pretty cool. Let's just take a look with regards to where that is being called. Item menu 2. That is where we are. Oh, here we go. Okay. So oh, I see. Okay, well, we have focus up, and then we check if we're at 0. If that is true, then we get the error sound effect here. Okay, so I'm just gonna close our... Let me check out these errors. Oh, not too bad. Nothing major. We can just ignore those for the time being. This is what I want playing when we try to use something that is not usable. So maybe I can duplicate that and throw it somewhere. Here's the function for using items. And then, yeah, we grab the class, check the defaults, get the type. And basically, if it's of a type that we do not approve of, basically. So right there, we're going to just get that error sound effects. And I'm gonna make all these die into here for now, and it should yield the result that I want. I mean, maybe this could be done with a series of branches, possibly. Maybe that would be cleaner, simpler. Now let's just move it like so I can read my workspace with the most ease possible. Okay, so that sound effect should be working. We'll test it later. In terms of looping all this stuff around, we have thumbstick up, which focuses to the top. This was part of the old system, so we're upgrading it as per the name of this video. So we're not gonna change. This is going to call something else. If we're at the top, we got to go to the bottom. I want to say, which means we should set this to its limit, which should be 8. Or no, it's index 7. I want to say. So if this is true, let's see what we can do here. So right now it's doing nothing, so I think this is right. We'd go through here, we'd set the previous index button to what it is, so we have that reference for switching the states that takes place afterwards. We can use the same delay, so that everything feels good, feels the same, consistent. And I think this has to be, whoops, let's plug that in here. We want to set the focus inventory button to the children count. Yeah, this actually would be ideal. We don't want to use the maximum child capacity because that's different. We want us to get the amount that's actually there. And now I think this can die into here, and we'll do the same for the bottom for focusing down, because you can see the same thing's happening. So maybe we can just grab these 3, duplicate with Control W, and let's plug that in like so. Grab our previous, set the index button to the previous one because we're changing it, and here we're going to add +1. I think that should set to 0, I believe. Okay, let's compile and check if our changes are working. I got a nice full screen view here. Okay, whoops, I forgot to populate my buttons. Oh, there they are. Inventory buttons all said hello to me. Cool. So if we go to the top, seems to work. Nice. And if we try to use something that's not usable, oh, we're not getting our cool error sound effect. Let's see why that is. Actually, I can't share that with you guys. I need to pull this off screen for a moment. And I'm going to turn on the debug viewer to this. Where are we here? Oh, I found the problem. Hold on, I'll share it with you guys. So, if we look at this, we can see we can't even fire this sequence of logic to get to the error sound effect because right here we're checking if it can be used and not allowing anything to happen if that's the case. But fortunately for us, we should be able to just grab this and shove it in here. Hopefully this is semi-neat-ish. Actually, I don't want that because then it's going to be going off constantly. What we'll have to do, and I don't love it, we'll need to hook this up like so. I mean, this doesn't have to be there. Like you can come closer. Our input for confirm, and we are going to plug this in like so. Get rid of that and, that annoying and. If it can be used, cool, you know, execute a function. If it can't, basically, if it's a non-usable item, play our cool sound effect. Now we should be able to get that going. Pull up our items and like music to my ears. Okay. Here we go. All these interesting tabs and assets I had open that I don't actually need. I'll keep this one. That's a good reference. Let's get some more coffee. And okay, let's take a look at what's going on. So we use the item, we check, hey, is this... Right now we're working with restoratives only. That's why the print string fires for the other file types, or so the other item types. If we look at self and party members, those two work, but they both do the same thing ultimately, but that's fine. It's basically, the big result is, you know, after we adjust the visuals and play the sound effect, we're focusing, you know, we fire this event, focus party member, which basically highlights the party member index. And then we provide control to this sequence instead of our top sequence through the setup of this name. So now I gotta think about this. This is our item master class, and I create a function called item use check, and I think that is what is going to drive this next section, right? So we have an e-canteen. It's kind of like a potion. You know, it'll refill some of your character's HP. And you know what? I'm just going to highlight this and comments old. And we're just going to make this dark so I know that I'm not really using it right now. Okay, so we focus up, and I think we need another input, or another input, but I think we need a similar. Well, the similar input is going to be used. Basically, confirm. So let's hook that up here. We don't need a gate because this is like a secondary input. There's no risk of it being pressed while things are loading or animations are being played. Okay, so we got our do once to control repeated inputs, and I think we're gonna use a similar call here. We're gonna break this, and we're going to grab the actual item which is held on the struct as a reference, and if we cast to this, let's see, item master, something like that, we should be able to get use item check. Right, this is the function we made. Makes sense. You guys with me? We cast to it so we can pull this out. There shouldn't be any issues here. I'm pretty sure we can make this a pure cast and it should be fine. This is going to need a Boolean out though. So let's come back here, add our output, and we'll call it item valid, and that'll output what we need, I think. So let's compile. I think the master, the parent class, takes longer to compile always because it's, I believe, I'm no engineer, but I believe it's applying all of these changes to all the child classes as well. Or it's crashing, that can happen too. Okay, yeah, let's save. Speaking of crashing, let's save everything. Now, the next step would be to find our e-canteen. Oh, there it is. Why is there no thumbnail? That's why. Okay. Now let's compile. Make sure it's nice and healthy. Oh, hey Rashad Zed. How are you? Thanks for tuning in. I'm really bad with my comments or the chat, the live chat. Maybe I should move my stuff over in my other monitor so it's a bit more prominent. Turn on time stamps. Maybe that'll help. Okay, where am I? Let's override our use item check. Oh. Interesting. Okay, use item check is here. And we have a return node. And now that we have a return node, I guess that's why there is an issue with it. Is item valid from the parent? Print string. Let's do some tests. Called on child e canteen. So now we'll know if that is firing, and it should. And we're going to set this to false. Well, it's false by default. So maybe we'll set it to true. Something like, okay. Let's see how this works. Let's figure this out. Yeah, use item check, and then we will print string this. I don't know. We can throw it in append and just for clarity, item menu, valid check equals. We'll know if it's dumping out what we want. Glad to hear you're doing good, Rashad. So this is flagged for false. Valid check equals false. Interesting. So this is false by default, and oh, you know what? We're doing this all wrong, I think. This is the wrong approach. I think. I think this shouldn't have an output at all. Because we want to be able to call that function and make it flag certain results. We might have to add an extra class, I want to say, possibly. We can break this down into a new child class, the usable item types. However, it would still have all of this data, which would make it work in theory, I think. I guess theories are meant to be tested. We might Yeah, use item check is valid. Oh, yeah, I get it. I get it. I broke it. Okay, that's fine now. The energy canteen. So now I want to override that function. It should be valid for overriding because it doesn't have an output anymore. Item use check. Right? So function override. But where is it? I'm gonna have to recompile. Oh, yeah, that'll do that. And if we override, there it is. Okay, now we can override it, which is, I think, ideal. It's ideally what we want. Print string, yeah, okay. Called on E canteen, whatever. Let's compile that. Save, hop into the preview. What's going on here? Item master, use check on the canteen, we overwrite it. On the menu, we are calling it. Cast to the parent class. Let's do a quick check. Oops. Let's grab our items. Okay, yeah, we're casting to it just fine. And we're calling this function, which is being overridden on the child class here. But we're not getting that print string. Add call to parent function. So I have a plan on how to structure this, but oh, very interesting, Rashad. Just saw your message. Only a few minutes late. Hopefully the delay isn't terrible on my stream. But glad to hear from a fellow developer. Very cool. How do you like Unity? Just gonna grab this and debug. On the other monitor you guys can't see. Okay, so we're successfully casting to our reference. But I don't know why. Seems our child override is not working for some reason. I wonder if it's because I was using functions and replacing them and deleting them and not deleting them in certain areas. Maybe things are a little out of sync. Okay, this is weirding me out. Item master. I'm not doing this wrong, right? Actor, actual item is an object reference. Let's go to the struct. Item data. What do we have here? What's going on? Is that an issue? I mean, anything would work. I mean, an actor is like the very, very, very topmost level. I mean, if we made it a BP item master reference, I mean, that should be 2, but strange because the class actor reference is working just fine. Let's go back to the item master, compile this. Oh, hey Julio, how's it going? Oh, that's a bummer, Rashad. Yeah, visual scripting is... I don't know, I would be nothing without visual scripting. That's all I'll say. Wow, a lot of assets to save after we made a change to the struct. Okay. Now, back on our item menu, we got cast to BP item master. Now, I believe this cast is now unnecessary. I think. Yeah, because it already is an item master reference. It has to be. So now from here we can call our function. And this function should call this hello, and then over on the canteen, I'm just gonna delete all of this. Let's just work from the top layer down. Why is it taking so long? I just saw your comment, Julio. Very funny. I wonder if there are background assets that are being compiled. This is a very long prep time. Okay, cool. Got all our items. Whoops, wrong actor. Okay, so let me continue. So, this is a mystery as to why this hasn't been called. Because we should get this function showing up and saying hello to us when we call this function from the item menu. Cool. Now I will where are we? Back over here. I want to plug this in here. I want to see what's going on. Because this does fire, but we're not calling anything. Yeah, that is the... That's correct. I was just wondering if perhaps maybe there was some mix-up somewhere in the logic where this inventory icon is not correct with regards to the one we're looking for, but this is the right one. The focus inventory button's working perfectly. Do we have to grab it like this? We have focused inventory item. Where is this being set? Oh, well, look at this. Looks like my past self had an idea. Probably right here when we select the use item. So let's just add a little bit. A little bit of something. Actually, that doesn't hurt. I like that. That print string, I'll leave that in there for now. Whoops, sorry about that. Let's jump in here. And let's see what's going on. Right. So this seems crazy. Like what is going on here? Instructs with instructs after break instructs? I don't know. These are the default values. I mean, oh, whoops. That should be fine now. I have a suspicion. And that suspicion is that we're basically trying to call a function on an actor that does not exist. Like, it has not been spawned. And I think that's my workaround here, but because despite all my references, we're calling this function, but we're not getting anything. And I think it's because it's just a reference to an actor type. It's not the actor itself. So I'm going to try a new method. We're going to get this actor class and spawn it. Whoops. Spawn it for gameplay task. This is interesting. Oh, for server. I don't need this. Let's just spawn it. Whatever. Just spawn it at the center of the earth. And let's just try to adjust, but always spawn. That's fine. And now let's call it. Whoa. Right, from here you want our cast to item master. Oh, wait, hold up. This is what we should do. Let's just put this back right where we found it and just take all of this stuff. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine if the wire follows me, that's cool. Basically, the actor class will be this. So when we select it, we'll spawn it once. That way we're not spawning it every time I click it, because that's going to get squirrely, I feel. And back down here, this should be what we're after, I want to say. And actually, instead of this, I'm going to say get item data. And let's grab, not read our button reference, let's read the actor reference we created just to make sure everything's smoothish. Hold on, let me move this over. Okay, tab over here, gonna open up my item menu string. Yeah, there it is. Hooray. So that seems to be a better workaround. However, we don't want to clutter up the world with problem actors. So I think as soon as we exit out of here, we're going back to item select. We also need to destroy this actor. Destroys actor. So we do not clutter the world. Cool. So it's not super elegant, but it definitely is functional. Responds actor to set reference for functions and checks. Okay, so I want to dock these back into my main workspace. So now we can finally proceed. We use item check, it does work. It calls the hello function, which I'm going to just remove now. And once it's done compiling, we'll head over to the eCanteen and overwrite that function. Use item check. Okay, now from here we should let's work backwards here, and I'll explain my thought process. So we want to call something like, use item on. We want to call a use item, and we also want to call a, whoops, not like that. We also want to check item is valid. So, different items in your inventory will have different, some might not be usable, some will be, and some will have different qualifications for being valid. And then those items will also have different uses. An eCanteen might restore, let's say, 500 HP, right? Stuff like that. So I think that we need to have a new child class of items. I'm gonna call it. Let's make a test class. To be honest, I'm gonna call it BP item usable master. And inside of here, everything is business as usual. You got your default variables, which is cool. Target type is on the master. I think this actually needs to be only for usable items, because only usable items will be sell for party members. Like I don't think it's necessary. But anyways, item master usable. We're gonna have new variables on here. Is valid, for example, will be 1, and it'll have a tooltip. Defines is valid check. Is that right? Did I call it? Use item check. Oh my god, terrible. We're gonna delete that, so it's okay. Is valid check. Basically, this tooltip is set by. Let's see, function is valid check. Overwrite on child classes to define validity for use. Okay. It's pretty wordy, but and we also want a function on this parent for use. Override on child classes with specified use. So this one is a little after the fact. It's definitely step 2, but it's going to have to also be overridden on child classes. The next thing I'm going to do is a bummer, because I really think target type is not necessary at all. I think I have to delete it. Item type is good. That's perfect. And you have to let this compile for however long it needs to. That wasn't too bad. Back on item usable master, we're going to have to add that item type. Sorry, target type. Target type. Because, you know, different items have different profiles. Not single target, it's going to be self by default. And then we'll set it up as needed. Okay, I'm going to close this and arrange my workspace a little bit so it's logical. Right. So back in the content browser, yeah, we got item usable master. Now, if we create a child class of this, I'm just gonna, like a test one. We'll call it BP recover test. And for this type, Yeah, we have the new variables. You have to keep targeting self is valid. That is set dynamically, so we need to set a default variable for it. What we want to do is set the type to restoratives, actor class, we'll set it to itself, BP underscore recover test. Character exclusive, nope. Item icon, yeah, we can put on the eCanteen. And actor name, this is important. We're going to set it the same. And now it should, I think. It should be cool. So that when we spawn it and add it to our inventory, it should integrate perfectly with the systems in the place. Okay, let's address that. Target type pin no longer exists. Oh yes, of course. We broke it. If it can be used, we're not casting to this anymore. We're actually going to cast to item master usable class. It's a little wordier. We're going to get these defaults. Whoa. And we're going to get target type. Interesting that the class did not inherit all the parents' class defaults. I mean, we need to define that. Usable when item type. Oh, that should work. It's already stored. Okay, that looks good. Blueprint looks healthy. Now we got our new eCanteen. Looks good. Works with the sort. Everything's fine. Now if I open it, I do get our eCanteen. Let's hop over to the item master. Sorry, not the item master. The item menu 2. Yes, right here. So, oh right, we need to well, gotta update these here, this variable. Let's find references. We get it twice. Okay. Right. And let's hop up here. And that should be fine to edit. We want to make this the usable class. Item master usable. That should be much better. The item use check is not the function you want to be calling. What we want is valid check is valid. we want to set it, and we want to cast to item usable. We want to hook those up like so. Whoops. That's fine, yeah. Target is self, that's correct. Save. Now we should be getting something on our recover test here. Hop over, we'll override the is valid check. Is valid called on child test actor. And the idea is we set is valid, whether it's true or false. I think it should be a function though. Let's do some experimenting and see. Because if it's a function, we can ask this actor if it's valid, and then it'll output what we want in a possibly cleaner way. Hooray! Look at this. Exactly what I want. Fantastic. So we got our test actor, we got our original formula. Let's check this out, and if we add an output called valid, compile, save, and if we go to our item menu, sorry, our item master, we should probably get rid of this. It's not being used anymore. There it is. Okay, so back on our item menu, we now have an output, which I like, because now we can branch, and if it's not valid, we can call error sound effects. Amazing, right? So we're kind of getting there. Our objective comment boxes are being used. Well, sort of. And you'd probably get some sort of, whoa, overwrite on child class with specific use. This is the first time I've ever seen a node like this. What does this mean? I mean, I wrote that, but I guess because there's nothing. How interesting. In any case, still need to get this to work. Back on our is valid check. Yeah, we're setting true or false. And if we go to our recover test item, this is now made invalid. So we're kind of in a similar place we were when we started this stream. But further ahead. Yeah, so its overwrite is valid check, and here we are. So here's the parent, and we're saying, yeah. Well, the parent just sets it as false, which I guess is what you'd want, but not anymore. We actually want to I want to check with the, whoops. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna I'll just show you. We're gonna check based on who's highlighted if it's valid. Like, is this character missing HP? Because that's the use case for this item. And subsequent child classes can have different checks that get called. Well, that brings me to the end of my hour here for today. Where is my widget and screen? Right, so thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back online tomorrow around the same time, and hopefully you'll see some, well, hopefully I'll be able to share with you guys the solution and result similar to the other streams. I'll just catch you guys up on what transpired, and then we can go into using these items in battle, which should be really fun. Oh, thanks for watching.